The capital asset pricing model, for short it is often called CAPM. It is an investment theory that shows the relationship between expected return of an investment and the market risk. To better understand the CAPM, I think it would be easier for us to look at an example to see how it can be used. And if you are of the math persuasion, then perhaps this formula makes a lot of sense. But for the others, let us break it down to try to make it a bit simpler. So far, there are only three inputs that go into the CAPM or CAPM. First, the risk-free rate. In this example, we use a 10-year treasury note. Now we are in April 2022. The 10-year T-bill is about 3%. The second element or the second input in this formula we have beta. Beta is the relationship between our investment and the market. For our example, we use stock. So for us, beta looks how the stock moves compared to how the stock market moves. As a reminder, the market by definition gets a beta of 1, which means that the market beta equals to 1. Let us use Apple stock so that we can see an actual example. Apple's beta is 0.99 and this is close to 1. So what is this tells us? Apple stock acts very similarly to the market. So when the market is up to 1%, then Apple stock will be almost 1%. More exactly, it should be up about 0.99%. The same is true in the downside. The market goes down and then the Apple stock will go down just short of 1%. And just to see how this impacts things, let us take our second stock right here. Right now we consider TSMC, a well-known company in the semiconductor industry. Consider that TSMC has a beta of 1.2. So the market is up or down 1%. TSMC will move up or down 1.2%. So the closer of the beta is to 1, the more the stock moves like the market does. The final input of the formula is the expected return on the stock market. Now, coming up with this number is not always easy because some research companies publish what they expect the long-term market return to be. The historical average can be also used. For this video, we will use the historical average, which is 9% per year. Okay, now we have all of our input. Our risk-free rate is 3%. Beta Apple is 0.99. For TSMC is 1.2 and the market return is 9%. Let us put all of these numbers in the formula. The risk-free rate, we can just plug in 3%. The Greek letter beta for Apple is 0.99 and the expected return from the market is 9% minus the risk-free rate. We call it the market premium. The 3% is the same we have here, and the bar over the expected return of the market simply means that it is an estimate. And over here M, that stands for the market. So together, it will give us an estimate of the return of this asset, which is Apple, and below TSMC. So when we compute these, we end up with 8.9% for Apple and 10.2% for TSMC. Please remember, the only difference between Apple formula and TSMC formula is the individual corresponding data. So, how can this be used? Well, one way to use the CAPM is to calculate the weighted average cost of capital, commonly called WACC, of a company, so that WACC can be used as a discount factor to value a stock in something like discounted cash flow. Technically for WACC, you would use both cost of debt and cost of equity. By example, let us consider that TSMC and Apple have no debt, which means that the WACC and for both and is the same as CAPM. Let us see how it will lay out. Consider an expected cash flow of $1,000 from Apple in 2 years. Since cash is more valuable today than in 2 years, therefore, we can use our CAPM calculation as a discount factor. So I will get $1,000 in 2 years. So for Apple, using our CAPM result of 8.9%, we can use that as a discount factor, and we can see that $1,000 in 2 years is worth $842.61 today, while if we expect the same amount from TSMC, it will worth $823.43 today. In theory, these are your present value of your 2 years expected cash flow. So what you want to do is pay less than that today. Therefore, if your expectation is true, the bigger the gap between what you pay today and your computation present value, the bigger your return will be. CAPM is not the only way to compute a discount rate or unexpected return. There is also something called the arbitrage pricing theory, which is very popular. The multi-factor models also work well. So keep in mind that the CAPM is one of the few choices, not the only choice. At some point in the future, I will do similar video related to arbitrage pricing theory and the multi-factor. If you haven't done so already, please hit the subscribe button, and I appreciate that you stay all the way in the next.